Our next guest doesn't use Scotch tape necessarily, but he uses the athletic tape, that's for sure. And that's my good friend, Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital. Joe, good morning, my friend. What do you have for us today?
Good morning, Ray. Thanks. Hey, let's warm it up a little bit today.
Yeah.
And got an opportunity to look back at something. A lot of these are things that we talked about, and you know how I am. We've been doing this for a long time. I want to check on things when we've talked about them. And a little over 2 years ago, we talked about the fact that the NFL was going to look at new approach to the kickoff. And in only the way the NFL would do it, they call it the dynamic kickoff rules. And, they always have a splashy way of doing things. So let's look at the dynamic kickoff rules now that they've been in place for about 2 years. In our world, what we're most worried about in sports medicine is it reducing injury? It's the number one injury rate and concussion play in the sport of football is the kickoff. So in 2024, 2025, 2 seasons now, they're thrilled from the standpoint of the play of the game because the return rates have gone up dramatically. So in the last year of the old rules, 2023, about 22% of kickoffs were returned. We know that most kicks were going into the end zone and were touchbacks, and that wasn't good for the game. And now this year, 78% of kicks had some degree of a return, nearly 80%. I think the year before it was 77%, something like that. So much fewer touchbacks. There's incentivized reasons to try to return the kickoff. In 2 years, most importantly to me, a couple studies that have been done, and of course the numbers aren't huge yet in 2 years, but it's reduced the number of concussions by about 43%. The first year was closer to 40%. Okay, so that's important to me. And looking at that, now I think they're looking at, and so this is a little tricky way of doing it, those kicks that were returned. Of course, the kicks that went as touchbacks weren't included, but 43% is something to get our attention. We're happy about reducing concussion rates on kickoffs. We have to be multifactorial if we're going to really get our arms around this problem. So how does it do that? And we talked about this 2 years ago. Theoretically, it was supposed to limit high-speed collisions. Players are aligned closer together. We know that by watching. So it's reduced speed. The return team and the kicking team are only 5 to 10 yards apart, and you can't leave your spot until the ball is touched. And so it looks more actually like a running play, kind of like a sweep. And a lot less of those full field collisions. 50 yards, these high-level athletes were sprinting full go and running into each other, and there was no question that was going to lead to higher concussions. So again, I mentioned this already. It's the number one play in college, high school, and it was in the pros for concussion, was the kickoff. So we really wanted to do something about it. So now the question is, Ray, are we going to do this at any other levels? So I was happy to find out that at the college level, a lot of discussions are going on of bringing new rules, maybe dynamic-type rules, to the college game. I don't hear of that happening yet at the high school level. We know already kickoffs have been eliminated from most youth football. But college looks like they're really seriously considering this for next year, and the rules committees in the professional game are looking at and considering tweaking it again. But the approach is to try to reduce long-term chronic complications. These chronic complications like chronic headache, CTE, chronic mental health issues that we were dealing with. Like I've said many times, when I went out on the field in the dark ages of the 1980s, the first time I covered a game in the mid-'80s, the way we treated concussion was terrible. We had no good idea of what it was and how to prevent it. And when things were going poorly in the 80s and 90s and we were seeing all these chronic complications, they kind of turned the ball over to us in sports medicine and said, fix it. So those of us in sports medicine really feel kind of a personal connection to this thing, and reducing it is multifactorial. So this is only one of many ways that we've approach this thing. I told you a couple of years ago, I'd say in those 40 years from the mid-'80s, I'd say I'd give us probably a B+ in how we're doing. I think we're getting there. I'd like to see us get into the A category. The 4 areas we look at, Ray, in this multifactorial approach. Number 1 is preventing concussions by rules changes, equipment changes, more flag football, conditioning changes, and strengthening. Number 2, accurate and rapid diagnosis. Back in the 70s and 80s when I got there, people weren't being diagnosed. This led to long-term concussions, second and third concussions, and the major problem types of concussions. Number 3, better assessment of recovery so that we know when we put somebody back that they're healthy. And number 4, there are treatment issues now. There are things we know we can do when people are concussed. Back in the old days, it was just rest. And many times we didn't rest long enough. People came back, and we had a significant 50, 60, 70% rate of second concussions, of people getting concussed again when they got back. So we had to approach all 4 of those areas. I think we've done that pretty well in the last 40 years, but I'd like to see even better, and this may be just a piece of it, these dynamic kickoff rules. So I wanted an update for your audience today on how it's working, and we're pretty satisfied with it in the area of sports medicine.
Well, my first thing as you were talking there at the beginning, Joe, I was thinking to myself, well, with those statistics and from what I've seen, I think it makes complete sense to take that kickoff rule to both collegiate and high school. I think it makes complete sense. It also hasn't taken away from the dynamics of the kickoff play. We saw that in the playoffs. Seattle returned a kickoff for a touchdown. So we still see dynamic plays, but when you're talking about guys 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds running full speed, and then those collisions, you can't help but have not only concussions but other injuries. The play can still be dynamic. I've applauded the rule change, and I don't know how you are, but I applaud it if they make the changes to the NCAA and to the high school, Joe.
Yeah, let's keep looking at this to see if there's ways we can change things and continue to make it better in all 4 of those areas I talked about. You know me well, so you and I are on the same page for sure. We needed a little bit of time to see how it worked. I think it's working. No question, you know me. Behind the scenes, I'm talking to people in college and, yes, in high school, too. Why not with high school, too, to begin to look at ways that we could implement something like this? You know, I mean, these collisions send a shiver up my spine sometimes when you're on the sidelines and you see people running full speed, as you mentioned. And so let's stay on these people, and that's kind of what we do, you and I, over the years, is try to look at things. And I really hope that this change occurs at other levels, and I'm very encouraged by the first couple years of the dynamic guidelines.
Yeah, I love the report this morning. Joe, as always, my friend, thanks for taking the time, and we'll do it again next week.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Have a great week.
You too, my friend. Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital, joining us live this morning.